So, Hector, tell us a little bit about the military. You said you boxed in the Marine Corps, correct?
Yeah, well, I did some boxing in the
So,
Marine Corps in Camp Lejeune. You
so
know, it was pretty good. Uh,
okay.
Pretty good
So,
boxing.
so the Marine Corps, Hector, or the military, do they have a boxing team? I've always heard that they do.
Yes, they do.
And it's still active right now. And how does that work? Is that under USA boxing guidelines or no?
Yes, every single amateur boxing in the U.S. That's legal is under U.S. boxing. Actually, I believe the boxing in the Marine Corps had stopped for a little while,
Yeah.
and I believe they started last year. I have not been in touch with the Marine Corps boxing team since and in any type of boxing in the Marine Corps since I
Uh-huh.
got out. We're talking about '96, so it's a long time ago.
Wow.
But There's good programs. You know, every military branch has them, and if anybody has the opportunity just to even compete in the tryouts and all that, it's very good for them because the military gets a lot of boxers. And as a matter of fact, one of our Hall of Famers, Terry Green, is a Hall of Famers in the United States Marine Corps boxing team. Terry was a superstar in his day. He was, I believe, ranked in the top 10, I believe number 7. So the Marine Corps is in every armed forces is very good. As a matter of fact, Terry is a coach in the Air Force, and he's a great coach. And talking about coaches, here in El Paso, we have a lot of good coaches. Okay, and you can tell by what this small LBC has done, and it's all credit to the coaches and the parents. You know, you got two state Golden Glove champions. You know, one Andy Perez. As a matter of fact, he's a national champion. He's the second national champion that we have, because our first one was in '95.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Jorge, uh, I forget his last name, but
Tovar.
yeah, Munoz,
Tovar?
right? Munoz?
Jorge Tovar, no?
No, Munoz. No,
Oh,
Jorge
Munoz.
Tovar was
That's
state
right. That's
champion.
right.
Yeah, Jorge Munoz, he's actually the first national champion, in
Oh,
1995.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Andy Perez in just this year he became a national champion. But we also have another uh, state champion that, for unseen reasons, and honestly, I couldn't tell you. Him, Andy Perez, and Cesar Alvarado competed in the Golden Gloves, and also Naeli Rodriguez. Naeli Rodriguez unfortunately didn't win the title, but she was a runner-up. Andy won the state, and Cesar Alvarado was the other state champion that this LBC has. And plus, who cannot, when you say mention right now amateur boxing in El Paso, I mean, you have to put in Miss Kayla Gomez. She
Yeah.
is just an outstanding boxer. Just finished up a few months ago in Jalisco. She won the Pan American Games. I saw all her fights. Not to say little, but her fights, and man, she is just a warrior. That little girl is going to go a long ways.
So, Hector, let me go rewind here because we're going to talk about Kayla as well. And we're talking about all the fighters that came out of El Paso that need to be highlighted. And they're interesting, an interesting background they have. But let's go back to, you said it was Andy Perez that won the Nationals, right? The Golden Glove
Yes.
Nationals. So, for a kid like that, what's his next step?
His next step would be to continue to participate in the big tournaments, the national tournaments, and to continue to also compete and go back and reclaim both his state title and his national title, which he's very capable of doing. And also Cesar Alvarado, they need to do. He needs to do the same thing. But yeah, definitely, Mr. Perez, he needs to continue his journey that he's done, and his
Okay,
coaches has done a great job with that young man.
good, good. So then now we go to Caleb Gomez now, and she won the Panamanian Games, correct?
Pan American Games
Pan
in
American Games.
Jalisco.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
So
the youth.
the youth ones. So then
Yes.
what's next for her?
I believe. Well, again, the Nationals. Here comes the Nationals. I believe she's competing overseas. I'm not exactly, but she's competing in an international level overseas. Well, she's already an international fighter because she took that youth Pan American Games, and then after that tournament, and I believe it's next month, and then she's gonna be fighting in the nationals in Louisiana in December.
Okay, yeah, that's the Nationals, and we'll see a
Yes.
lot of El Paso kids out there. And you mentioned also Cesar Alvarado.
Yeah, well, Cesar Alvarado is the I believe can't believe 160 178 state champion. Okay, and this and Cesar is for that type of weight. He's a little bit small, but he is just a tough fighter. That kid, I mean, he reminds me of a Duran that has such a huge heart that regardless you can punch that boy, but he's gonna come back at you, and he's gonna come at you 10 times stronger. He's a great kid, and I see a lot of good things for him.
Wow, yeah, good kids mentioning coming out of El Paso, and El Paso is a boxing town, Hector, because a lot of people have came out of El Paso,
Yeah.
have done it big, right? These
Yes.
Southwest, even Las Cruces. I mean, we're talking about El Paso, Las Cruces, New Mexico, Lubbock, Midland. We got some good fighters overall. So, Hector, on my next question, how does it? Can you explain to us how does it divide? Which one's the region, and how is the regions divided in Texas, or how does it work in USA Boxing as far as the LBCs? Who do you pertain to, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay, so our LBC is a border association. It's 53. We have 7 counties that
Seven counties.
7 counties that basically I guess for lack of a better term supervise. So that's one region. Here in the state of Texas, we are a huge region. California and Texas are the biggest region. So, but our region is region 8. So we fall under region 8, which is Texas.
Okay.
And then,
So
of course, well, region 8 falls under U.S. boxing.
U.S. Boxing. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Hector, so when you and both and every border, I mean, every association can compete against each other, correct?
Yes.
It's not a problem. We can compete with New Mexico, um, Louisiana, all that, right?
As a matter of fact, that's an excellent point that you bring up. We're working with possibly, well, not possibly, we're really pushing it, and we already got the thumbs up from golf from the president over there. Actually, he's what used to be one of our officials, is Alejandro Leon, and our vice president Joe Rodriguez have been working together in competing, getting a team from our LBC and their LBC. We're gonna start it from them coming over here first,
Oh,
and
okay.
then getting on some 12, 15 fights or however many fights we can, of course, because as you know, Tree, it's kind of hard to have some a lot of matches. I wish we could have 50 fights or 30 fights, but some doctors we gotta, the deal. That's our only barrier right now is. But I'm
We're gonna
very
get to that.
thankful for all the trophy, for all the doctors that we have. So yeah, so that's what we're trying to do this year. Hopefully, at the beginning of next year, we'll be able to do it. And but my long term goal is to do an international fight. I'm already starting to contact our people from our neighbor city, Juarez.
So, I
Hopefully,
mean,
start out something.
okay. And speaking of the international friendship and how we're intertwined together and we can do it, they're going to start opening the borders.
Yes,
Uh, I mean, it's been 2 years already, Hector, since COVID, so we haven't had a lot of kids or people cross or the coaches or so that's going to be a good thing as they open the borders, right?
yes,
As we continue, guys, we just want to make sure that everybody knows that the podcast is being sponsored by our good friends at Sergio Lewis Body Shop, 3800 Admiral Street, El Paso, Texas. 44 years of business in El Paso. Go visit Mr. Sergio Lewis at Sergio's Lewis Body Shop for all your auto collision needs. Also, Hector, we got people commenting. We got Demarcus Corley saying hello to us. Hello, Corley. Chop Chop Corley. About to get it on. It's still on the ring, still fighting. I mean, this man is in an awesome shape, Hector. This guy looks like he's 24.
Yes. Yes, I saw him. I believe about 2 years or 3 years before 3 years ago or 2 years before the pandemic. That guy looks like a teenager.
Right. I mean, we had the pleasure to have him here, and he inspired a lot of kids here, man. He taught us a lot too. I mean, he's a 5-6-time world champion, and he's about to fight a lot of people. So let me ask you a question, Hector. What do you think about fighters after their prime still fighting?
One thing, I understand, that you want to continue to fight, especially I just imagine reaching that pinnacle, that championship, world champion, that the best at that time. I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard to get down from that high, because I mean, just think about it, people calling your names and asking you for your signature and all that other good stuff. So I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard, and that could be a bad thing also, because a lot of boxers, actually, instead of going and taking care of themselves, okay, they go the bad way. Either they go on drugs or they start drinking. As a matter of fact, there was an article that I was, who is it? Miguel Gonzalez, a world champion that actually fought against Julio Cesar Chavez. As you know, Julio Cesar Chavez had a lot of problems with drugs, but now he helps people with those drug addiction problems. He has, I think, 5 clinics. So he found out about Miguel Angel Gonzalez. He found him in the street and now is helping him to do that. So, but I mean, if you're fit, like Mr. Chop Chop, why not? If you can do it, why not?
I mean, we saw Evander Holyfield get knocked out in the first round, and sometimes it's kind of sad seeing fighters like that. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, of course, I'm not comparing Chop Chop here, but because Chop Chop is in immaculate shape, and he's about to get another fight. And Chop Chop, my respects to you, champ, and good luck to you. And like Hector said, man, continue if you can. Why not? And he does look like a 24-year-old young man, and continue to train Chop Chop. We also have Junior. This is straight out of, I think it's Curitiba, Brazil. Junior, good friend, my friend over there. And then we have also Mr. Agustin Tapia saying hello. Hello, Mr. Agustin. Buenas noches. He also mentioned Moises Rodriguez Jr. Was he any type of champ here lately, Hector?
You know what? Unfortunately, in the Nationals, I mean, he's an upcoming superstar. Not a doubt. That little boy is awesome. But unfortunately, he lost in the last Nationals, in the semifinal fight. It was a tight fight, very tight fight, because I was fortunate to help his father work the corner. In my opinion, Moses did win. But again, you know what? It's not my opinion. It's what the judges see.
Of course.
See out there. Okay. So, but yeah, definitely, Moy is a little monster. I call him Monster, El Monstrillo, because that boy goes in there and he can fight.
Wow. Okay. Another one here is Rogelio Avalos. Hey, Roger. Nice to see that you're on the show, man. I haven't seen you in a while. My saludos to Roger. Says, God bless you, Coach and President Hector.
Thank you, Roger. God bless you also.
Also, Roger was I think he doesn't live here right now, but at the current time. But when he was here, he was also a big part of the LBC, right, Hector?
Lionheart team.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Actually, one of my first shows that I saw when I came back from the military, I went to one of his shows there at I believe it was a Real. I can't remember which place it was, but it was a hell of a show. It was I believe like 25 fights, and I was like, wow, that's when I started to say, hey, that little buck started in me. Hey, you know what? Maybe
really
you don't fight anymore, but you could do something. So I went to San Juan, and that's where I started coaching with Mr. Luis Maldonado, who cannot remember Mr. Luis.
Yeah, of course, man. So, and then also, I remember Roger too. He was I think he even had a training video on how to rap, correct?
Hand rap, yes. I believe he also had that, yes.
he had he was teaching people how to rap. I think under the banner of Title Boxing. So,
Yes,
correct us if we're wrong, Roger. But Mike, again, you were part of the LBC here, and you also put a little bit of. There's so many people, man. So many things. So many people to thank throughout the years on the LBC, past presidents,
exactly.
current presidents, and of course all the coaches and the kids that you've mentioned, Hector. Right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we got a lot of good coaches. We got, I mean, you got Joe Rodriguez. You got Andy Pettis' dad, Sergio Perez, and then his main coach, I believe, Tommy, and then of course, Raul Prieto, that actually was Kayla Gomez's first coach. You got a whole bunch of coaches out there that are great coaches, very good coaches, and that, I mean, and you can see by the fruits that they're giving us. And one thing, this is one thing that I always say, and I say it to my mind: if we were a bigger LBC, like in San Antonio, like in Dallas Fort Worth areas, I mean, just imagine what we would do, because we're a small LBC, very small LBC compared to them. They got over 2,000 athletes. Okay, that's athletes, not to mention officials and stuff. And we still could, and our kids still compete at a high level with them. So that's why, what, if we had the population that they do, oh man, just imagine, it'd be crazy.
Yeah, of course. And I know you can mention everybody, but Jim's, Wolf Den, you
Your
got
gym,
corner Bobby Joe's back. Raul Prieto is back.
yeah,
We got Louis Jr. We got Herman Delgado.
yes.
A lot of people that have been instrumental to the sport of boxing here in El Paso, and upcomers. I mean, and Hector, do you agree with me that, or do you think that in order to be a good coach, you had to have boxed before?
No, no. I don't think so. And
Right?
because you know what, to me, this is one thing, is that you have to be a good teacher, a good communicator.
There you go.
Now, if you align yourself with a coach that's a good coach that teaches the fundamentals and teaches it correctly, okay, you can learn a lot and go to clinics, go to read books and stuff about pugilism. There's a lot of good books. There's a lot of videos out there that can show you that. If you're an excellent communicator, just one example is Jojo Diaz's dad.
Yeah.
That's his coach, and he never fought.
Never fought. There's a lot of father sons combinations. I believe also Teofimo Lopez's dad.
That's another one, but yeah, that's another one.
I think it was the other Danny Garcia.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A lot of them out there.
And yeah, and again, like I said, you know what? If you're a good communicator, and you can teach, and learn the fundamentals, the correct fundamentals, okay, and teach them. And one of the biggest things, at least that I try to do when I coach, because I seldom coach, because I'm how can I say this? I really put my time in it, so I expect the same thing out of my boxers. Because one thing, I don't like to charge, because that's just me. And of course, gyms have to, because they have to keep the lights on and all that, and I don't. So that's why I don't charge. But if we go to a gym, of course, we do our part. We do our part. But yeah, if you're a good communicator and you know how to teach the basics, and also do not push your boxers to fight just because
You're right.
you want them to fight, or they want them to fight, or their parents want them to fight. Because after that fight, if they get beat, guess who they're gonna blame? Well, the coach didn't prepare them properly and all that. So you just got to be careful. You just got to be careful. And the biggest thing is you got to love the sports, and you got to like working with kids.
And you know what, Hector, you said that, yeah, you know what, there's a lot of good coaches that are not necessarily tuned to the sport, like in any sport, boxing, baseball, all that.
Exactly.
I know even instructors, coaches that know so much. They have an excellent background in boxing, 95 pro, and they can't coach worth shit.
Exactly.
They're, I mean, we have instructors everywhere like that. They have a lot of knowledge, but again, the science and the skill is how to teach and having the patience. You know, I'm happy to say that I take any kids. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I wish I wouldn't charge, Hector, which I don't charge everybody, but like you said, we got to keep the lights on.
Exactly.
And you know what, Hector, we got to keep the wheel turning. Everybody's got to put a little bit of their into the wheel, and the LBC can keep turning. Correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Definitely. As a matter of fact, you hit it on one thing that I wanted to discuss and bring this up is that I want to thank you, Webb.
You're
I want to
welcome.
thank Pound per Pound. Okay, you guys started putting on shows, and I'm very very thankful for you. And there's other clubs that are going to start putting in shows because you got to remember this. And this is one thing that we covered in the last podcast that I was with you is that we are the only LBC, okay, that puts on shows, as many shows as we do, okay, because every other LBC, all the clubs out there are the ones moving it, are the ones putting in sections, okay. In this tree, it's hard to put in a section. It is very hard, especially after this pandemic. One of the things is I want to thank the officials that we have, okay, because you know what? They're excellent. As a matter of fact, I want to bring this up and congratulate Gabriel Alarcon. He is one of our LBC, and he's ranked number 10 in the U.S. boxing. Okay, and we're talking about thousands of officials. He's number 10. That's a huge accomplishment. Okay,
Wow.
That's a huge accomplishment. All right, now, and this is something that I wanted to bring up was that officials are human, and you just tell me in the amateur ranks, in the elite ranks, in the pro boxing ranks, are there bad calls?
Of course.
Exactly. So now
back on the Giants and Dodgers game.
and the bad calls, and you see the bad calls is because, I mean, and then this is just a joke, but I mean, I claim all my losses in my amateur career because there were bad calls. I thought I won them, and that's how everybody is.
Everybody is.
Exactly. So one thing, it's hard being an official. I mean, if you can try it yourself, and you'll see, okay, how hard it is. Because as a matter of fact, the last show that we had a, I believe, I don't know if it was a club member or a parent, started yelling at the official at the ring person. We don't need stuff like that because, again, if those officials, they're doing it on their time, on their dime, they decide to say, hey, you know what? Why am I doing this if I'm going to be criticized or verbally abused by people? Why should I do this? And guess what happens? We don't have no shows, as you found out, Tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tough being an official, and if you don't think it is, try it.
Yeah,
help us out.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Umpires, officials, referees, time and time they get abused. You see it in Little League football. You see it in the pro ranks, basketball. It's just a tough job because, and then they're human at the end of the day. It's
exactly.
Tough, man. It's tough. You're not going to please everybody. And then in a sport like boxing that's so emotional, so heated, it's high testosterone levels. It is a very tough job to be an official. So yeah, my kudos goes to the officials out there. So I guess that lends me to my next question. How does it work, Hector? How is the LBC, how is it structured to include the officials? How is the cabinet? Like it goes president, vice president?
Yes.
And how long is the term for presidency or for any member of that cabinet?
Okay, so we have our president, vice president, we have our secretary, we have our registration chairman, and when we got our treasurers, and then we have an athlete and a female and male representative, and those are usually selected by the board members. Okay, so but now the registration chairman is also selected by the president. And what I do, I take an extra step and I put it up to vote to the board. So to make sure that we are in compliance. I don't want to do a for lack of better terms, a Stalin and say, hey, this is the person and that's it. No, I like my board to have an opinion and part of the decision making. So that's are the positions that they have now. We have our chief of officials also, and he's the one that manages all the officials that volunteer. Okay, and actually we got, in my opinion, one of the best chiefs of officials in U.S. boxing, and he has been recognized also as being a great. He knows his stuff, and, and he does a good job in training our officials to make sure that they do the best that they can. I mean, prime example. He's also been ranked up in the top 100. I believe he was a top 15 at one time. I mean, he was top 15. Now he has Alarcon, Mr. Alarcon, at top 10, in which he helps him and guides the officials out there. So what happens is you volunteer as a non-athlete. Okay, you check the box, either judge, timekeeper, a referee, and then you have to, of course, U.S. Boxing has its website, as you know, like coaches do. Take the test, go through the studying, and then take the tests on the website. Same thing with officials; they do that, but they're also a clinic, which we advertise out there, and Andres does our instructions for our officials, and they have to pass the test to make sure that they do. Plus, Andres also is supervising them, is grading them to make sure that we across the LBC are judging in the same manner how U.S. Boxing tells us that they have to do, according, I believe, to AIBA.
So okay, that's a lot. So what is the term for presidency? How many years?
4 years. All the board members is 4 years.
4 years.
And this is one thing that I also did on my other podcast. Hey, everybody out there, whoever wants to run for office, do it. Honestly, do it. Because so that way you can see that at times it's very rewarding, because when you see an event go through and it is success, you're like, yeah, you know what, this is good, I'm doing something good. But of course you always have your not to say bad times, because they're really not that bad, it's just how you take them in. But sometimes you do have some little headaches, and people are complaining about this and about that, and you have to and again, I tell them the truth. And again, a lot of times they don't like the truth, but I'm not gonna tailor it to the response that they want. I tell them just the way it is. And
of course,
exactly. I mean, and so far, well, I mean, yeah, there have been complaints to U.S. Boxing about me, but they've done their investigations, and I've been on the good side.
But that's everywhere, man.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody. So there you go, folks. I mean, we're here with Hector Espinoza, president of the local boxing commission border association here in El Paso, Texas, shedding some light on us on the process, the structure. We're talking about that. Questions answered, guys. We'd like to thank everybody that's tuning in. I mean, ask your question, guys. I mean, he's here. Like every LBC, we have issues. Nothing's perfect in life, but there you go, folks. He's sending the invite. If you want to become an official, if you want to become a ref, come on, man. We need people. There's a shortage right now of all that. So definitely, like I said, if we put a little bit into everything, we can really put our LBC at top levels, as it is already with our people that you mentioned, Hector. And let me go back to the messages real quick. We got Rogelio Avalos saying the name of the club is Iron Hearts Boxing Club. And Fernandez Vargas endorsed the title boxing video on hand wrap technique. There you go. He also mentioned that thank you for the kind words, Hector. I appreciate you for doing such a wonderful job in the world of boxing.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And we got Agustin Tapia, Chief of Officials. He's the best, and he wants to get a shout out to saludos a todos ustedes, especially para Andrés Lamanasiano, which he's our chief of officials, right?
Yeah, Augie is also a great person. He's also has helped some of the clubs over here on our side of the pond, and he always invite him, and he invites us. So yeah, he's an excellent coach and a good resource. Definitely, he's a very good resource for anybody.
Yeah, he is. He's a nice guy, man. He's a very nice guy. Un saludo para usted, Mr. Tapia. Well, folks, don't forget we got some big stuff coming up here on the local LBC here. One of them is going to be Clash on the Border. This is Saturday, November the 13th at the Texas Army National Guard Center, 11701 Montana. Inviting all teams. Matchmaking is happening as we speak right now. For your matchmaking, send in your list, 915-549-0528. That is the matchmaker for it. And the Warriors Edge Boxing Promotion is promoting this fight. Send in your names. As the last that I heard, we had like 89 names already, Hector. It's going to be a 20-bout card tonight. So, guys, join us. Clash on the Border. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have vendors out there. We're going to have booths, music, just a whole fun and activities, food, and fun. So it's a family event. And you know what, Hector? That's what they've asked me, hey, how come we don't serve alcohol? It's a family event. Alcohol, no good.
As far as the alcohol, first, the location has to have the alcohol license.
Yep.
Okay. And if there is alcohol, there cannot be no bottles, no glasses, no nothing. They all have to be served in cups. So I mean, I don't mind it, but I mean, we have to act like adults because remember, we got all kinds of kids out there. They're seeing how you act, and how you act, that's the way they act. So,
right.
So be responsible like anything. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to that, and I would never turn down a sanction. Actually, I encourage anybody to put a sanction in, but again, within the rules, anything can be done.
Of course. So, guys, join us Saturday, November the 13th, sanctioned by USA Boxing, Clash on the Border. It's going to be a great evening, great afternoon, great evening of family fun, food. Food trucks will be available, booths. Also, Splitwood, the award-winning Splitwood and Fire Pitmasters will be in the house. They're going to be recognized here pretty soon on the Food Network. So, guys, they're going to be in hand. So we're going to have them as well. So join us for Clash on the Border. That's going to be November the 13th at the Texas Army National Guard Center. It'll be a fun night of boxing with USA Boxing on hand. And we're with Hector Espinoza. And I guess I'm going to get to the real question here. 2 weeks ago, Hector, I wrote a letter to the executive director of USA Boxing.
Okay.
I've CC copied a couple of people. And I told them, and I'm not going to read everything, but I'm going to read some of the highlights, that I wanted to commend and send my regards to the staff at the USA Boxing office in Colorado for taking the time to read these email. And, every time I call, they do answer our questions, mine. They're doing a job as well. So they're good customer service for us out there. So I told them who I was, and my concerns were getting one of the major obstacles that probably not only me, as a gym owner and as a amateur boxing promoter, we face is the stress of getting a medical doctor. Every show we have done so far, that's been the major obstacle. And I told them right now, especially right now, because of the pandemic, the doctors are super busy in our hospitals, or they have been super busy. And to be honest with you, man, the last thing they want is even work an event,
Yep.
So these are the questions that I posed Mr. McAtee, and he responded.
Yeah.
He actually responded. So I told him, will this rule ever change? MDs and ODs deals, or would it change? Has it been an issue and discussed inside the U.S. boxing meetings in the war rooms? Can we use an MD from another country? Because we're close to the border. We have good medical doctors down south in Juarez, Chihuahua. Will they allow more medical staff for professionals to assist ringside and not just have the titles of DO and MD? And folks, this is what he responded, and I wanted to share it with you guys um, because everybody needs to know what they respond. But I took the time. What are they going to do to? I mean, it was nothing bad. I wanted questions answered.
Mm-hmm.
He says that the rule may change, Hector. The primary reason we require an MD or DO has to do with the insurance. Just like you told me, Hector. Each physician receives up to $3 million in professional liability coverage. In the event they are sued due to the duties worked at a ringside physician, PAs, nurses, and other medical designations are not covered. I want everybody to hear this, man. Thus, this leaves a large exposure not only to USA Boxing, but the individual as well. If we were able to renegotiate the coverage to include nurses and PAs, et cetera, it's likely that the insurance will increase in price as the data shows they're not extensively trained and statistically higher risk to commit an error. This may force us to begin charging for physicians' membership, something we do not want to do. What do you think of that that he said, Hector?
Well, you see, the thing about it is actually I've been posting that question for I've been president for 6 years. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, and I still have that letter, that was actually, no, it's this year. I sent him again the letter because I had other concerns besides the doctors, and I put the same thing. Okay, so we're trusting, okay, nurse practitioners to do the physicals for our fighters. Okay, we're trusting them to do that, but yeah, we can't use them in the as ring doctors. Okay, because there's a lot of nurse practitioners that would like to help.
Well,
There's a lot of them.
About an error, is that where he can commit the error here?
Well, the thing about it is that explanation that you just gave me in the letter, at least that I can recall, he didn't explain it that way. But basically, what he told me is that they had asked the Olympic Committee, okay, the Olympic Committee about that, and then the Olympic Committee said that no, that the ringsides, they have to be doctors. No, and to answer your question, Agustin, they don't have to be AIBA registered. They just have to be ODMDs and can get registered with U.S. Boxing, and and U.S. Boxing does the background check and all that, and their registration is free for them.
So USA Boxing is not associated with AIBA, Hector?
Yes, it is. Well, they're under the Olympic Committee. Yeah, they're under the AIBA because AIBA is the world organization that governs amateur boxing.
Okay. So this is the next one that I had answered. Question number 2, which was, has it been an issue and discussed in the war rooms up there in Colorado with the higher gods? And he said, this has been an issue, especially with COVID, because I mentioned, doctors are busy with, we still have a pandemic going on. I think in the hospitals, there's so many people sick, still dying of COVID. He said, we've discussed this, but knowing their professions, we know that many people in the medical field are required to help with the pandemic. We offer free memberships and try to help LBCs promote renewals as much as possible. We know there is more that can be done. What is the more that can be done, Hector? What does he mean by that?
To help us recruit doctors. Okay, and again, open it up to other, like you just said, open it up to other doctors. To other type of doctors that could possibly help us. And again, we can do a nurse practitioner. I mean, they go through. I'm not saying that the same schooling, but a lot with it. And again, my thing is this. Okay, is that what is the doctor going to do if let's say a boxer is knocked out cold? What is he going to do? The only thing he's going to do, okay, and I'm not underestimating it or downgrading, is that they're gonna stabilize the person and get them ready for the EMTs to come out and take up to the hospital. Okay. And again, I mean, most clinics right now are actually having PAs, nurse practitioners under doctors. So why can't we use that the same system that clinics are using? I mean, if it's good enough to be for a PA to do their job in a hospital, in a ER room, I mean, why can't we use some of them in our events?
Well,
You
and
know?
this is what my rebuttal. This is what I also asked them or said on my letter. I said, amateur boxing is probably the only sport that requires an MD at the event. Not any high school sport or high school even football that is as dangerous or even probably more dangerous than boxing. They have an MD on the sideline. Um, MMA, karate, little league sports, football, volleyball, wrestling, to name a few. And that's what he asked. I mean, we're really the only sport that requires that type of title ringside. And I also told him it's hard for an LB a city the size of ours, that to get doctors. So here's the third question that I asked him, and this is what he said. I asked him, can we use an MD from another country? And he said, at this time, they have to be licensed in at least one of the 50 American states. They can reside elsewhere as long as they are licensed here. So this is what I told them. What about AIBA? What about the Olympics? I thought they were all together. So when the Olympics go to Brazil, and they use different doctors from all over the world, do they got to be licensed from Brazil? Isn't it the same thing? What do you think, Hector?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's an excellent question. Because I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? I mean, why can't we do that? And again, this would help the LBC, the grassroots, have more events. Have more events that would help us a lot. You know, and that would spread, especially like you just said. A city as small compared to like Fort Worth that has 2-3 million people, and then you put in Dallas, that's what 4 or 5 million people. We just can't compete with them. And as it is, I mean, we do great against them, but if we had more resources, wow, we would be the monster of the whole U.S. boxing, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
So, and I agree with you. And this is what he also said to close out the letter and the email that I talked. And I was kind of happy that he responded. I mean, the main
Yeah.
guy responded. He said, one thing I would recommend, and this is to all the coaches listening, and folks, if they're not live right now, that you guys can still see it. It's going to be live, and it's going to be on our page, the Boxing Reporter, also thank the online magazine of boxing, but also on YouTube. We'll have it, and you guys can hear it. He also said, one thing I would recommend, if you haven't already, is to reach out to any colleges or universities that have a medical program. He said that we do allow MDs working as residents who are getting their hours to work as a ringside physician. Since many of those students need a minimal number of hours to get their license, they may be more willing to participate as ringside physicians. We did that for our 2020 national championships, he said. He stated. We used a team of residents to help conduct COVID testing, amongst other things, from LSU. I saw that Texas Tech has the Paul Foster School of Medicine in El Paso, which they do. You may want to give them a call to ask about that. We know that it's a tough situation, and we're working diligently to help event hosts to find physicians. Also, call your LBC. They are usually in touch with their physicians and know who's available and who isn't. Thank you for the feedback and for all you do in the border LBC. Have a wonderful weekend. I do want to thank him, but he brought some good points. I mean, I guess contact the Paul Foster School of Medicine. And I think to add to what you said, that we need to have more in the pool. I wanted to share this to all the coaches that should be listening right now or gonna be listening, and is that we got to do legwork and have a pool of 4 to 5 doctors. The doctor that's going to be doing the clash on the border has residents, and he's going to register, and he's going to get us a pool of that. But again, let's not try to overuse the poor guy, the poor doctor, and burn our bridges. I mean, we got to get a pool, and that means that if we have 10 gyms, one coach could do some legwork and maybe go out there and get doctors on the same letterhead from USA Boxing, from LBC. I visited 23 doctors' offices 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
One bit, and we got a doctor.
And that's an excellent point that you bring, because honestly, we burn our doctors because of that, because we just don't have enough doctors that we can help out, that can help us out. So yeah, we have to. And again, you got to remember this: the LBC, okay, we're gonna help you with what we can. Okay, if we can get you a doctor, we'll get you a doctor. If we can't, we can't. But we're going to provide the officials. We're going to provide the gloves for your event, and we're ready to do it. We're ready to do an event. As long as there's not any event coming up. In other words, is that if two clubs want to put an event and one club beats the other club, well, what can we do about it? And if you put in a sanction and you don't have a doctor and you just put it in like that, or you don't even have a location, okay, I mean, we can't accept those sanctions, okay, and because I know that has happened in the past, and I mean, it breaks my heart to do that, but if there's no location, you cannot have an event. There's no doctors, you don't have an event. So yeah, it's a tough situation, but that about the residency, that's something new that, at least in my over 10 years of being with U.S. Boxing as a coach and as a board member, that's a new thing. But we have hit the foster school. Believe me, we've gone there.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Hector.
And it is also kind of tough. One thing that we're gonna try to do or start doing is that we're going to start offering some type of compensation for the doctors if we can. That's another idea. Because of a lot of other big LBCs, they do that, but they have the money to do it.
Yeah,
we
money,
don't.
Man.
We don't. We don't. And every single dollar, okay, that the LBC makes goes for our kids. And you've seen, Tree, how we treat our JO teams. We take them out there, we transport them, we give them uniforms. I mean, we keep them in good hotels. We don't put them in roach motels, because we try to. That's another way to motivate the kids. Hey, you know what? I'm going to put an effort in the gym. I'm going to go compete here. I'm going to have my nice little warm up. And now me personally, out of my pocket, started giving the teams, a ball cap with LBC 53. Sometimes you'll see me with one of them. And we try. That's one way to motivate them. And believe me, every single penny, you can ask my treasurer, Frank Guerrero. It's all geared to them. And plus, we got other expenses, administrative costs, okay, that we have. Like, for example, Frank just sent me some books, some athletes books that we give our LBC when they're registered. So it's a good thing. But sometimes, like I said, you go through some rough edges, and sometimes you gotta some people are not very happy. And well, like I said, I answer the questions honestly, and I know sometimes they don't like it, but I'm not gonna lie to them.
Well, I mean, and I mean, there's so much stuff that goes behind putting an event, because you still got. I mean, and people that put events are for the most part, are business owners, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard to keep the lights on, especially after this pandemic. But you know what? Also, Hector, it's just the culture, man. Here, it's the culture, man, and it makes it hard. But I think a little legwork can do the trick, and getting a pool of doctors, venues, and having the right people in our pockets to help us out. And this is going to be my third show this year. We had the test event here. And like I said, I want to help as much as possible. But there's a lot of good people in the sport, and the LBC. I mean, you guys are doing a good job. And I mentioned the structure and the way the UFC boxing is. Hey, look, man, if we're not going to agree with you, Hector, all the time, that's the beauty of America. The rights
Exactly.
yeah, the right to vote. If you don't agree, why don't you run for president? I mean, right?
Exactly.
I mean, if you don't like this or that, why don't you be a supervisor? Get on the board. Be an official. Get in there and make a difference. Don't be a problem to what you think is already a problem.
Exactly.
Am I
And
right?
bring solutions too. You
That's
know,
what I'm saying. Bring
bring
bring.
solutions.
Here's an interesting thing on the doctors. The doctors get a big tax write off when they help with the shows.
Oh,
I mean, is that because even if we don't pay them?
that I wouldn't answer. I guess Agustin would know better on that. But
And he also said that pediatricians can do shows too.
well,
Because
again, if they're MDs and
yeah.
ODs, I mean, believe me, if I could get some other doctors to do it, that'd be awesome. But I cannot break the rules, and I'll be
So,
honest and I'm be straightforward. I'm not going to break the rules.
so I guess I mean, it's just so we can not just keep on harping on that, but I think one last thing that I have is what has been some of the reasons, Hector, that we don't keep the MDs?
Um,
Or they just get tired.
exactly. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Fair enough.
Because one thing they unfortunately we get a doctor and then they get the doctor and then all of a sudden other people are other clubs are calling them and stuff, which they have the right to. But I mean, we got to be careful and we have to if possible, like just like you did, go out there, get your doctors, get a pool of doctors to help us out. Every single club should be doing that. Whoever wants, and again, I'm challenging all the clubs out there. Okay, put in a show. Believe me, it's not as easy as you think. Ask Tree, and Tree puts some of the best shows that you'll see. Actually, some of your shows are even better than the pros. No, and I'm not just talking to talk. I mean,
Hector,
believe me.
it's all for the kids, man. I mean,
Hey, and it's awesome, and
does it have to do
they
with me?
enjoy it. And
That's my
again, that's the
personality.
same thing that motivates also the kids when you put a classy show out there. That motivates them. Like doing the walk, the like when you do the one with the sheriffs.
Clash of the
When they do
Titans.
when they do the walk and they're all excited, the cameras on them, the lights is on them. It's good. It's the same thing that we try to do humbly at the LBC. We get the uniforms, get them good hotels and stuff like
Well,
that where they can stay.
yeah, of course. And this is the way it works with me, Hector. Okay, this is the way. This is on my side. We do all the work on the side, get the sanctioning, get the sponsors, get the fight list, whatever. And then Saturday morning when it's weigh-in, I kind of just do this. Here you go, and then the LBC does everything.
Yeah,
It's
we take care of the rest.
I mean, Andres takes care of everything. Never's given us a problem. You've come in, never given us a problem. Hey, maybe a hey, whatever. What? Of course. I mean, you're gonna question stuff, but other than that, me, DJ, or my matchmaker, we just say, man, we just sit back, take care of our stuff, and we for sure know that the LBC is gonna take care of at your end. You're gonna meet that with us, and then that's the beauty of everything. Come Saturday morning, November the 13th. I mean, it's showtime, and you guys take care of the problem. So now here's another question, Hector.
Yes, sir.
When are you up for election, and will you run again?
It's 2 years from now. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to run again.
It's 2024.
Yeah. Yes. The the first time that I was president, at my third year, I said, "Nah, I'm not going to run no more." But then just started thinking. I'm like, you know what? Nah, I like it too much not to run. And again, I'm running for the presidency. I don't have it bought or anything. U.S. Boxing does the tabulations and everything. I don't. The people, again, if you have a club, you have 5 fighters or more, you have a vote, okay, to vote in, and U.S. Boxing will send you an email to whoever's your club representative, and then you got the board members that also vote. I don't vote for myself. I don't think that's ethical. So yeah, I mean, honestly, anybody that wants to go out run as president, please do so. As a matter of fact, if you want to run the next term, let me know. I'll vote for you. I'll vote for you, and you run it.
So, that's going to give you 8 years, right, Hector?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Oh, believe it or not, there've been some tough times, but overall, I like it. I love it. It's good because you know what, you get to know a lot of people. Not just here in El Paso, but nationally. You meet a lot. I mean, actually, you meet the best people in El Paso, and also you got some of the worst people. But 99% of the time, we have real good people. I truly believe we have good people. And also out there in US boxing, you have a lot of great people, a lot of great people. And one of the things that I would advise the new president, if they would run, is that, and that's one thing that for sure US boxing knows: I protect my LBC. I protect my officials. I protect my coaches. I protect my pugilists, because if I don't, who's going to do it?
Okay.
And believe me, a lot of like the questions that you ask them, I've been asking them for a while, and that's good that you did that, Tree, because it brings it up to their mind and say, hey, it's not just the president that's complaining about
No.
this. Now it's the coaches, the clubs out there. I mean, echoing the same words that the president is saying out there. So it's not just a president thing; it's a LBC thing.
So this is I cannot find it, Hector, but there was I think it was, man, I don't know the guy's name. I does all the tournaments. Give me a name. He's up in Colorado. He said
Mike
something.
Campbell.
Yes, he said something about he sent something. I don't know if you got that email on incentive,
Oh,
right?
yes, that's a COVID thing. In
I can't
actuality, this is
can't
something
find it.
that we're going to be discussing with the board to see what is the best path for us to take to
So,
to try to get
so he
some that
even
we
said
do.
that if you're doing a tournament, submit your tournament
Hmm.
and see if is it you qualify or how does. And I couldn't read it. And I cannot believe I can't find it now in my email.
Yeah, and again, that's why, like I said, I don't know all the details, Street, but that's something that we are looking at, and we're going to be looking in the board and see how we can get some juice out of it, and also, to make sure all our clubs do that. As a matter of fact, one of the things is that we do get a free sanction if we have all our documentation and all our stuff uh,
Okay.
on time to US boxing. And actually, I'm always there with Frank. Hey, Frank, and I really don't have to bug Frank because Frank is a very good treasurer. All our stuff gets in time, and we always get that free sanction that a lot of other LBCs don't. But we try, believe me, we try.
Well, all right. That's great, man. I want to just Rogelio Alvaros just posted. It's easier said than done. Everybody's quick to speak, but not quick to step up. It's a great
Yes.
responsibility, and that type of responsibility is honesty. Doesn't doesn't deserve to be in the wrong hands. Good point, Roger. Right. So
Yeah.
we heard it here from the president. He's going to run, but if you guys want to run against him in 2024, um, he said go ahead and let him know. I mean, he'll even help you vote for you. I mean, it's elected positions are not easy. I
Mm.
understand. Uh, but I mean, we elect them. I mean, and if we don't vote, then um, we cannot yell or complain about change because nobody's stepping up to the plate. And I'm just saying presidency. I mean, anything. I mean, I've even thought myself, but I want to retire first. But I mean, again, I'm trying to give a little bit back, Hector. Even podcasts like this, giving an opportunity to people to
Oh,
speak.
definitely,
This is a
definitely.
podcast, and I send it out. People can speak. I want people to speak if they have problems or issues, or it's not a bit session. And if you want it, whatever, man, we're here to speak free. But I mean, Hector, it's been a pleasure. I just got a question for you. Another question. You got some cowboy hats back there. What is all that? What's that all about? You
Hey,
going
I like to dress Western, man.
Are you going to Dwight Yoakam?
Of course.
Yeah, we'll be there on Sunday.
Awesome,
You know,
awesome. No, no, yeah. Hey, believe me, I like to wear my hat, my cowboy boots, and well, in the old days it was Wranglers, if you remember, but now I like the Ariats. They're a lot. I think they're a lot more comfortable than the Wranglers, but
And we went to Luke Combs last week, and it was a fucking mess.
I
They
didn't go
sold
to
my,
that one.
they sold my seat 3 times.
Wow, really?
Yeah, there was 3 people on the same seat, and we all had the same number of tickets.
No, maybe they just saw you. They say they had to charge you 3 times for as big as you are.
Not even, man. Wait, what? I demanded the best seat in the house, and I got it. Uh, we got another. JC Fernandez says, "Can you put LBC on the CFC campaign for local funds from donations?" What does that mean, Hector?
I'm not sure what's the CFC campaign, but that's something that we'll look into it.
JC, what is CFC? JC Fernandez CFC campaign. Jesus Herrera said, SME Tree. Hey, Herrera Volcano, thank you for your service patrolling out there. El Paso streets are safe because our blue brothers in blue, El Paso PD and the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, of course, Warriors Edge, always supports our law enforcement and fire. I was at a career day today. That was the coolest thing because it was at my son's school. We had a career day at Tierra del Sol. That was awesome with all the kids. And that's one of the perks of I'm a 24-year vet of the department. One of the perks is the boss lets us go out there and talk to these kids, inspire them to make a difference. So hopefully we've inspired you guys. And any last thoughts, Hector, on anything you want to add before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, law enforcement. I have family members are law enforcement. I have a nephew. He's a police man over there in Hobbs, New Mexico. So definitely, we are a family that's military law enforcement. My personal family, and of course, I'm pretty sure most of the LBCs, our LBC, are for you guys, and so because you protect us out there. But one thing that I do want to stress again, going back again to the officials, and that like on the last show, that person that started, yelling insults and stuff to our officials, please stop that, okay? And hopefully somebody out there knows who they are, and tells them, because believe me, I will not stand for that. When you're abusing my officials or in disrupting the environment in amateur boxing, I will not stand for that, and I will take action on that. I know it sounds kind of harsh, but please don't do that, because again, to me, every single body in the LBC is important and is very valuable, and we gotta try, at least it's my job, to make sure we try to keep them all. And that's all I have to.
And it's like any youth sport. I mean, you have the right to kick out any spectator that is being argument. There's in the rules. I mean, it's in the rules also. I mean, and we're the only sport too, because I said it. I mean, I said earlier about being the only sport that has an empty pool. We're also probably the only sport that doesn't require parents to go through a parenting class like Little League baseball. And
we should.
Well, I mean, yeah, the parents that are going to be, I think it's the parents, right, that they got to go through some type of parenting class, like I think it was the Optimist Club, because of parents. I mean, and you know what, Hector, let's give praise and kudos to the parents for boxing, because we don't get as crazy as the little leagues in the sports parks. People are crazy. I've never seen that in boxing. I mean, I think our parents are sound. And you know why? Because I think boxing is a special sport.
Yeah.
And we have special people in it, regardless of, it doesn't have nothing to do with finances, backgrounds. It's just boxing unites us all.
Yes.
Because it's chingazos. It's emotional.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, for the most part, in all the shows that I've been part of, it's been a good turnout. Yeah, they're not unhappy for losing, but it's emotional. But I mean, our parents have been great so far. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah, and you're 100% correct. We got a good thing going here in RBC now. Could it be better? Like anything, yes. But hey, you know what? Be part of that improvement.
Yeah. Be part of get a solution, right?
Exactly.
Guys, this has been great, Hector. It's been great having you, buddy.
No, thank you very much. And again, I want to thank you personally, you and your club, because you're always doing something innovative. I mean, there's podcasts, going out there and hitting the ground, getting doctors, and putting out some of the best shows I've seen. And like again, I compare them to the pro events that I've seen here in El Paso. They don't match up to yours, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So
well,
just
thanks,
one last thing also is that don't remember the 10th, no, the 30th of this month of October. Okay, in a neighboring city, some of our fighters are going to be fighting that we're amateurs here in El Paso. I believe Jorge Tovar will be fighting over there, and also Stephanie Hahn. Okay,
yes.
and I'll tell you one thing.
Is it going to be at the Pan Am?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly, but it's going to be in Cruces.
And I
And
had
also,
the banner up, and I didn't have
and also La Picositas fighting. So I mean, I consider Las Cruces like our
Of course.
backyard, our
Yeah.
part of our LBC, because
Good-
we
good people
we
out
do
there,
a lot of business with them. So
So you're right. Go out there, guys, and see the show. Pro Fights, Jorge Tovar, La Picosita, DJ Bonds, Brandon White will be on the card, I believe. All these guys, all local, for a night of boxing. Tickets are reasonably, they're not that expensive. Go out there and support this good cause. So go out there, man. And in the next telecast, we're gonna have Marlon Barrios from San Antonio, and Rooster and his son, Junior, 7-year-old sensation, will be on our show, and we'll be promoting that October 30th fight in Las Cruces, New Mexico. So yes, a good shout out to everybody out there. We still got another comment here. This Agustin Tapia says, "I have parents and boxers meetings just to check their behavior at home and school grades." Great, Agustin, that you do that. I know a lot of coaches that do that. Mike Clark's one of them from Las Cruces.
yes,
From Crosstown Boxing, and I'm assuming other ones do. But Mike he looks tough, man. I wouldn't fuck with Mike.
hey, I'll tell you one thing, Mike. He's a beast. And besides that, you know what? His system, as far as he has it, how he runs his gym, it's unique. If anybody wants to run a successful team, just probe his brain. Mike is an excellent person. And he's a I consider him a good friend of mine, and he helps us, and we help his club. But yeah, definitely, you're 100% correct. Mike is an excellent person and coach.
And I try to do that too. Get meetings with the parents. This is the way it's going to work. I mean, we're going to have one for my show as well. A lot of the parents here help me for my shows as well. But again, it's been great, Hector, having you on the show. I don't keep more of your time. It's Friday night, and I'm here at the gym. I'm about to close on the podcast, and this is a good stress reliever for me. Talking boxing.
There you go.
And learning, because I don't know. I mean, I learn. I got the rules here. I want to learn more, because I'm probably going to be heavily involved here in the near future. More with you. So,
I'm going to put a little excerpt of George Strait's song, but just a little bit different. If you ain't learning, you ain't living. And George Strait, if you ain't loving, you ain't living, right? But hey, my saying is, you ain't learning, you ain't living.
The good old George Strait, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
Folks, it's been great having Hector on the show from the LBC in El Paso, Texas. We want to say hello to everybody out there that was tuning in, or that's going to tune in tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Stay safe. And we'll see you at the fights, man. All right, folks? Be careful, Hector. See you later, folks. Have a great weekend, man. See you later, folks.